All right, guys, so in this video, we're going to be doing the seated abduction. So adduction, AD, is when the legs are starting out and you're coming in. Abduction, so AB, B for Bob, you're starting your legs together and you're pushing out, which is, for most women training, and guys as well, is usually where you're training the glutes. If you're going outwards to in, you're training the inner thigh, all right? So if you want to do that, you can. But abduction, now, majority of these machines, when you do set them up correctly, so the standard procedure is pop the feet onto the stirrups or foot at the bottom, bring this in as close as possible. Now you may not be able to see from this angle, but there is a big gap in between my legs where I could basically fit both of these right in the middle, okay? We don't want this gap. We always want our knees to start from a touching position. So depending on how big of a person you are, you may not have this problem. If that's the case, if your knees are touching and you're just barely getting in, cool, you don't need to worry about the blocks. Pair of yoga blocks, you can buy these really cheap. I highly recommend you chuck them in your gym bag if your gym doesn't have them. What you're going to do is you're going to pop these onto the sides of your legs. So basically, we're just extending the thickness of this pad, essentially, all right? So here and here, usually horizontal is pretty good. And then from here, now my legs are starting from a touching position and they're against the resistance to start, okay? And then from here, there's a few different positions you can sit in. So you can obviously lean back in this position and come out this way. You can sit a little bit more upright and then come out this way. And then you can also lean forward in this position. Some people lean forward and hold on to here and then out into this position as well. So different body positions would train different parts of the glutes. Now, having said that, you always want to go through the hierarchy of pain first. So some people, just where the hips and anatomy are made, if they sit backwards and they get to here, it hurts and they get a bit of a pinching in the pain or sometimes a low back. If that's the case, lean forward a bit more. Is by leaning forward, do you no longer get pain? Perfect, then just train in that range. If you find that leaning forward causes pain, lean forward even more. And then from that position, do you get pain? No? Great, that's your position to be in. So there's no exact 100% right way to do this exercise. Number one, you go through the range that doesn't cause pain. You always want to get out as far as you possibly can, so all the way out, all the way in. As this gets heavier and heavier, you may also want to include just a very small pause at the end range. So it'll get to a point where you'll be able to load this quite heavy, but then you'll find that as you get out to here, because it's quite heavy, you're weakest in this position out here. So you might want to add in just a small pause, because as you get heavier and heavier, you'll find that the range will start to shorten and shorten, which you definitely don't want. So you always want to have a marker, so a position where as far as you can get, all right? So that's exactly where you want to hit every time. And then some machines, especially like this one, if you don't get to a certain range, it actually won't count the repetition. So that's a good indication to say that you're no longer getting the full range that you should be. Now, partial ranges still count, but you always want to maximize full range, and that goes for pretty much every single exercise that you have. This is a pretty straightforward exercise. You don't need to fuss too much about it. If you just find that your legs aren't touching in the middle, just pop in the blocks on the side, and that will fix that issue for you.